All right, who's excited to talk about revenue share today? Who wants to grow your business and leverage your time? All right, this is what we're going to show you how to do today. So as I mentioned, revenue share is an exact percentage off the top. So when you compare to other real estate companies, you might get a Starbucks gift card for bringing on an agent. Is that duplicatable? You might get profit share for bringing on an agent. That's an imaginary number. Can you create a business plan off of that? Nope, right? So what Glenn did is he flipped that to where we all have the same opportunity. Does that sound like a pyramid? No. Because it's not contingent upon who sponsored you. You can actually surpass your sponsor, and it has happened. So what happens is you're at the top of your own pyramid. What you build with this company, it's on you. Everybody has the same opportunity. It doesn't matter if you're new to real estate, you've been in 10 years or 20 years, we all have the same opportunity. So here's how this works. Tier 1 represents agents we personally introduce to the company. Personally, so if I bring on Sarah, and Sarah's somebody I personally sponsor into the company, and let's say for sake of example, she's a capper selling $2.5, $2.6 million, then I'm gonna make up to $2,800 a year. It doesn't cost Sarah anything. EXP pays back in the form of revenue share because they pay out 50% of all profits. You guys with me? Now, Sarah's a rock star. Sarah goes and gets Queenie. So Queenie now is in my tier 2, but she's in Sarah's tier 1. Now, what happens, this is where the magic happens. What happens on tier 2? You get paid more. So, am I in competition with Sarah, or am I incentivized to help Sarah bring on Queenie? Incentivized. I'm incentivized. It's no secret, right? It's a win-win for both parties, right? So, what happens is, these numbers here to the right are the numbers that unlock the tiers, the higher percentage on the tiers. So the ultimate goal to get time, financial, location freedom is hopefully one day we all get 40 agents. Now, one thing I want to really be clear on, it's not just 40 real estate agents. We're looking at qualifiers. So when you see personal qualifying agent count, that's going off of your FLQAs. Everybody write down FLQA. That stands for Frontline Qualifying Agent. So in order for an agent to count as a qualifier for you, they need to be selling about $5,000 in gross commission every 6 months. So if I bring on Sarah and she's not selling, do you think I'm incentivized to share my secrets and help Sarah grow and produce and get her first transaction? Yes. There are agents in this room who have gotten referrals from us personally. Raise your hand. Right? Because we want to help our agents grow. So what happens is you have to pay attention to your FLQAs. I could bring on 40 agents, but if they're not producing and I'm not helping them produce, maybe only 15 are FLQAs. So what happens if I only have 15 FLQAs? I've unlocked how many tiers? 4. So what happens if Sarah brings on Queenie, Queenie brings on JB, JB brings on Ruben, I'm running out of names over here, and then Ruben's a rock star and gets 100 agents that are on my tier 5, what happens? You're not getting any money. I don't get paid the maximum amount, right? So I could potentially be leaving a lot of money on the table. So you have to pay attention to your FLQAs. So one of the biggest mistakes that I see agents that come in, and I say this because it's myself included, I did this. My first year, I stacked 25 agents. What do I mean by stacking? I was excited. I wanted to build the team atmosphere. I was like, hey, I bring on William, and then Sarah comes, and I'll put Sarah under William, and then we're all happy. Well, 7 years ago, they were giving 1,000 shares of stock away per agent. Anybody know what the stock is today? Last I checked, it was at $43. So what is that 1,000 shares worth now? 43,000 times that by 25. Let's not do it. Don't let me know what that number is. But the other key difference, here's why it's a mistake. I hurt myself by FLQAs. because I wasn't unlocking all the tiers because I was stacking deep. Does that make sense? So even though it's 7 levels deep, it's unlimited wide, meaning you can bring on 1,000 agents personally if you wanted to, right? So when you go deep, I wasn't getting the stock award for it. I wasn't doing the FLQAs, and then something else happened that I did not see coming. Anybody guess what it is? Well, that's one thing. If an agent leaves, the good thing is it doesn't condense down. So it stays the same. You just lose that one placeholder. What happened was it became expected. So now I was selfish for bringing on agents and putting them under me personally. So as human beings, we're naturally what? We can become lazy, right? And so agents were getting upset that I was no longer putting agents, which all I was trying to do was help boost them and get them started, and it backfired. Well, that's happened to a lot of us here. So if I have any suggestions, if you get anything out of this, build your front line. And then support your agents in growth. So about 80% of my time now is spent supporting our agents grow, because it's no secret, I'm incentivized every single one of you to help you grow. I try not to build a top-down organization. I don't care if you're in my 5th level, 6th level, or 7th level, I'm going to help you. But you have to understand, I have to build out my front line too. So I'm also not going to just give away somebody anymore. And that's one of the biggest mistakes that not just myself, but other top attractors and influencers have shared in the company, that if they had to do it over again, they wouldn't stack. So make sure you understand the model. Make sure you understand what an FLQA is and how that could affect you. You know, they talk about partnerships. Instead of sponsoring, we say partner. We're your senior partner. You guys are all in our organization. It's a partner. Why? Because we're not here just to bring you on and leave you. Now, we have created systems and hired somebody wonderful like Paige to help support you guys, right? Because I can only do so much. But we're here to be a support system. And when you attract an agent, it should truly be a partnership where we're incentivized to help our agents grow and also help them with production and the growth of revenue share. Make sense? So make sure you're looking at that. You're looking at the sponsor. You're looking on how you bring in people, because it's irreversible. Once you join the company or agents join the company, you can't change it. And I have agents all the time, agents that have even joined other organizations in the company, which is okay. And then they come to me a week later and say, oh my God, I made a mistake. Can I join your group? And I'm like, no, that's not what EXP is about. One of our core values is integrity, right? So you made a decision. You signed on the dotted line. You signed the independent contractor agreement. You chose your sponsor. And I hate to say it, you made your bed, you have to lie in it. That sounds harsh, but that's why the sponsorship is such an important part of our decision making and who influenced your decision to join EXP. So to get back to sponsorship, there is an attraction pledge. So I encourage everybody to go find the attraction pledge. If you don't know how to find it, Paige can help you. It's in Enterprise. You go to the Explorer Guide, go to number 8, which is agent attraction. You can pull it from there. But it talks about the do's and don'ts. There are some do's and don'ts of sponsoring agents, right? We don't want to just do, later on today, we're going to talk about cold calling. But we're talking about cold calling. It's really warm calling because it's people that you've built relationships with, maybe through social media, networking, something like that. Now, we also don't want to do incentives or stealing agents, because one of our core values is what? Integrity, right? So if Adrienne calls me and she says, oh my gosh, I just talked to Danielle, I'm going to join tomorrow, I just want to get your opinion about EXP, should I try to take Adrienne as a sponsor? No. No, right? Now, here's the difference, and this is only in my opinion, it's not company policy. If Adrienne calls me and she said, hey, I've talked to 3 EXP agents, I know you've been with EXP for a long time, I'm thinking about it, but I'm just not completely sold on it, would you talk to me? Is that fair game at that point? Ruben, can I share your story? Sure. So Ruben and I met on Facebook, which you'll see later on. An agent had been talking to him, but he had so much misinformation about the company. No, it was not Ruben's fault, it was the agent's fault, that he didn't understand the company. Once I explained it to him and he really understood the numbers, he was in like the next day. Right, Ruben? 2 days. So if somebody joins under somebody else and it's because you gave them misinformation, who's that on? It's on you. And you could be thinking, well, I don't, I'm a new agent. I don't have the ability to support agents. I haven't sold hundreds of homes. Guys, we have built courses. We spent in 2019 over $100,000 in personal development. Everything I've ever learned in the last 12 years is in those courses. And as a member of our organization, you guys get from Paige, who will be up here later, a coupon code. And not just you guys, but every agent that joins your organization, our group 7 levels deep, get the same access. So even if you're not a top producer, there are many of you in the room that get your groups together and say, hey, we're going to do the 90-day Agent Success Kickstarter program, and we're going to do it together every single week, right? Or trainings like this, the Mastermind. Share these videos with your group. Leverage other people, and that's how you're going to get. So 7 years ago, I was agent number 333 with EXP. There were 300 agents nationwide, globally, actually. We didn't have the success stories that we have now with stock and revenue share and production doubling and tripling, quadrupling, and all of that. So what did we do? I didn't have stock. I didn't just come to the company magically with stock and revenue share, but I had to use other people's stories. So Brian Calhane is the first agent that joined Glenn back in 2009. And he has a story, and I might not get it exactly correct, but he had to have something happen. He had to have hip surgery. And he was out for like 6 months. And he said that revenue share is what saved his family. He couldn't go out and show houses, list houses, right? So I used other people's stories, and that's what happens is we get in our own way of limiting beliefs. Well, I don't have any revenue share, so how am I going to share that? I don't have 1,200 agents. I didn't start with 1,200 agents 7 years ago. I started with 1, and then I added another one, and then I added another one, right? If you can get to 50, you can get to 500. If you can get to 500, you can get to 1,000. That's how that works. If you don't have a story yet, and you will, then say, hey, my senior partner has 1,200 agents. Let me get you on a 3-way call with her, which we'll share that formula later on today. Hamid, anything you want to add to the revenue share?
No, just to make sure you guys get how the number. It's really important. Tier 1 to build your 4 agents. This is really important. Do you guys have any more question about the icon? About the revenue share, how it's working?
That's the first time I realized Tier 1 was just our front line. I didn't realize it. I thought I had to do something else.
No. And Tier 1 is only agents you personally sponsor, and it's unlimited. So you don't have to stop at 40. It's unlimited.
You can bring as many agents you want in Tier 1.
Let's get some of these questions back here. You guys come on up a little bit if you have a question. It might be easier.
So I think I heard you correctly. You have 1,200 agents under you, but you only have 60 in Tier 1. Mm-hmm. So I know you gave some away, but you really only signed up 60 agents.
Correct.
I think that is a huge takeaway for people that
right.
You don't even have to aim for the 1,200. You just have 60 that bring on other agents, and it goes crazy.
Absolutely. And so my husband and I did something different, which we can talk a little bit later, but we stacked just because I came 5 years prior to him. So when I say 1,200, it's between the two of us. But we did that intentionally. So Gene Frederick is one of the top attractors. He's number 1 or number 2 at the EXP. He has over 15,000 agents in his organization. Do you guys know how many he's personally sponsored that are FLQAs?
43.
37.
37 agents change his life.
Are we all in agreement that the right 40 people could change your life? Yeah. Do you understand why had you make a list of 40 agents now?
Yes.
All right. Anybody? I think I have one here.
So just an example, on Tier 5, let's just say you have 15 agents in Tier 5. What happens to that money?
So the question is, so you're saying if you haven't unlocked it, correct, and you have 15 agents. So we put up this chart because it's a little more simple. There is another chart that you have exponential and expansion and exponential growth. So there's actually the percentages. So 2,800 is 3.5%. 3,200 is 4%. But the 4% is divided based on if you have unlocked the higher percentage. So you will always get paid 7 levels down But it's a different, like tier 2, it's 0.02%. And then if you unlock it, you add 3.8%, which adds up to 4%. So do you want to get paid 0.02 or do you want to get paid 4%? So you'll always get paid 7 levels down. That's why I say you unlock the higher percentage by unlocking it with the FLQAs. So to answer your question, if you've got 15 on tier 5 and you haven't unlocked that, you're not getting paid the maximum amount. And it could be thousands and thousands. We've met some agents, hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially. Anybody else?
So on tier 1, you need 4 agents or 5 to unlock tier 2?
Great question. So in order to get paid the $2,800 on tier 1, you only need 1 agent. Now, in order to get paid the $3,200 on tier 2, you need 5 or more. 5 or more FLQAs. So if I bring on 5 agents tomorrow, they're not going to show up as an FLQA until they start producing. Make sense? So if I bring on, okay, go back to the example of Sarah. I bring on Sarah. Sarah brings on Queenie. Queenie brings on JB. And then JB goes crazy and gets 100 agents in my tier 4, but I haven't unlocked that. I'm not getting paid the maximum amount personally on tier 4, which means I need to go get more on my tier 1.
Can you explain what an FLQA is?
Yeah.
How to become an FLQA?
FLQA, frontline qualifying agent, and that's an agent doing $5,000 minimum in gross commission every 6 months. I hope it's like 1 or 2 houses, guys. I hope we're doing that. You'd be shocked at how many is not. I would argue you probably should be in this industry if we're not, right? And with all the systems, tools, and technology and support EXP provides, we should be able to do 5,000. Some of you may say, hey, I just want to refer. That can count toward referral too. He does referrals, and he can still hit FLQA status.
I just have a question.
Oh,
Sorry.
well, let's say for everybody.
So for the 5,000, is that what the agent makes after the split?
Yeah, gross. Gross. So it's told before the split, it's the gross commission.
Okay.
And all of this is in the company policy, right? So what's really nice is how many of you have checked out or know that there's a new EXP dashboard as of a few months ago? You guys are killing me. There's like 4 hands. Okay, so we changed from enterprise. We still have enterprise, but they changed the revenue share dashboard to be more transparent on my.exprealty.com. Everybody write that down. my.exprealty.com. The beautiful thing about this new dashboard is it literally shows you what tiers you've unlocked. So if you haven't unlocked 5, 6, and 7, they're not green. Green means go. So 1 to 4 are green. So it's pretty easy, and it shows you what percentage of agents you have in those tiers. So you can kind of calculate how much money you're potentially leaving on the table, right? So I know you guys are hungry, so I'm just sharing this one more slide with you that I shared during the presentation, but we'll dive to it a little bit deeper. So let's say this is a 5-year plan. You personally sponsor 10 agents. So those 10 agents are in your tier 1. Then you help those 10. So I take 10 key people that I figure out that are leaders. And keep in mind, we can't help everybody. I personally help people that are swimming toward me, right? So you find your leaders, you find your generals, if you will. Who are those leaders? And you help those leaders grow. They bring on 10. This is how it compounds. So now you've brought on 10. Those people have brought on 10. So you have 110 total in your organization. If they're all capping, that's up to $348,000 a year. Now, some of you may say, well, what if they don't cap? They only sell $1 million, $1.5 million a year. Then it's just a prorated version of that. It's not an all or nothing. You get paid a percentage every single time they have transactions. We have agents in this room that have only been with EXP a couple months and have gotten $1,000, $2,000 in revenue share. Now, again, I come from an investment background, and I thought the only way to build wealth before was to buy investments. And we worked hard to buy our investments and not have a lot of leverage and loans. And do you know how much real estate you need to own to clear $2,000 a month? A lot. What about, what's 94,000 divided by 12? It's like 7,500?
Yes.
Somebody? Yeah? Double check me? 78.50? Okay, I was close. 78.50 by bringing on 5 friends and helping those 5 friends bring on 5 each. So that's 5 in tier 1, 25 in tier 2. That's over $7,500, 78, whatever it is, a month. That's where we get financial freedom. Right? Here's what happens. Some of you are making a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money. You're selling a lot of homes. But every time you sell a home, what happens? You become unemployed again. And you start the cycle over and over and over and over. Your big teams, agents that are selling hundreds of homes, your broker owners, they are exhausted. They are tired of running this cycle. So don't be scared to present this gift. It's not just an opportunity, it's a gift to them. I believe it is our duty to present this. And when you shift that mindset, that you're not just recruiting people, you are changing agents' lives, and it's your duty to share this opportunity, then we're not recruiting anymore. Stand up if EXP has changed your family's life. 100%.
100%.
Are we recruiting or are we helping people?
We're helping people.
So stop saying you're scared to talk to your peers. If I have a friend, if I'm in a market with Carla, I owe it to Carla to share this opportunity. Now it's on Carla if she sees it or not. I share the video, she sees it or not. She might come back. William, I think, came back 2 or 3 years later. That's okay. But I owe it to Carla to share this opportunity. Is that right? You guys can sit down now. EXP, besides my husband and my kids, has not just been one of the best business decisions I've ever made. I would argue it's one of the best life decisions I've ever made. Not just financially, but when you start dealing with agents across this room from all over the nation and all over the world, your mind changes. Last week, just a few days ago, he sat down with the founder, Glenn Sanford, who is a billionaire, and he's the same genuine, caring person he was 7 years ago. Right? It's not just about money. At some point, it becomes purpose over profit. We have financial freedom. I don't need to go after it anymore. But my purpose is every single person in this room, I want to help to achieve the same thing and more. And I genuinely mean it. Because there's nothing that gets me more excited than somebody calling me and saying I didn't have a transaction, it got pushed back, and I can pay my mortgage payment because I have revenue share. Not all of us are going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue share. That's okay. But to the agent that's making $500 or $1,000, is that not a house payment, a car payment? I can pay my kids' medical bills, right? That's the power of compounding. It is the best, in my opinion, the best opportunity of anything that's ever out there. Any other questions before we get to lunch?
I don't have a question, I have another thing to share.
Yes.
One of the reasons I came is because of the legacy. Like, I want my kids to pass it down. If I do this, then they can inherit it and actually keep it going.
Absolutely. We're legacy builders, aren't we? I am. I am. We are out there to change lives. We're not just recruiting, we're an attraction master, and we owe it to our friends, our colleagues, our peers to share this opportunity. If you don't share this opportunity with people that you love, shame on you. Let's get out there, let's grow. I am.
An attraction master.
Let's go to lunch.